Telephone assistant, in parentheses, operator. Now, first of all, the title was too politically correct. I wanted to call it operator, but there were so many songs out that's name was operator. So I came up with telephone assistant. But this one is telephone assistant is quite the song. Honestly, it stems. There's a story there. So here it goes. At one point in my life, I was a phone sex agent. I played a female phone sex agent because my voice is very light and very airy, and I emote naturally, and I'm a soprano. So I actually had to find work, and I didn't have any options back then other than, to look in the newspaper. And when I looked in the newspaper, I remember calling a number. It said we were looking for phone actresses. So I'm like, oh boy, what's this? So even though I was a boy, I knew the capability of my voice over the phone. So I called the number, and I remember a young lady answered, and I was like, hey, yes, I'm interested in your ad. I saw it in the newspaper. You're looking for phone actresses, et cetera, et cetera. Can you explain to me what that is? So she explained to me that it was phone sex. And she explained to me, just the ups and downs of it, and, how much they paid and how lucrative it could be and how it could help me in my life. And I was desperate. I was very desperate. I was very desperate, and I needed a job. And, the crazy thing about it was that when she was done, because I was really nervous because I had to tell this person, because she wanted me to come in for an interview. So I had to tell this person I was a guy. So, because I didn't dress like this. This is kind of the persona. This is not the everyday. This is the artist. This is the Queen of Shade. So I waited till she was done, all her spiel, and I said to her, she said, do you have any questions or concerns? I said, yes, actually I do. I said, what's your policy on hiring men? And she laughed and she said, men have come through our doors, but we find that they can't keep up with the vocal classifications and the vocal needs and parameters. They can't stay in tone and in pitch and things like that. I'm a singer, so I have pitch. So I listened to her and I said, well, so men have worked for you before? And she's like, yeah. And I remember, this is the craziest thing. I said to her, she said, well, come down tomorrow and we'll have your interview and we'll see how it goes there. And I said, well, I have to tell you something. I'm a man. And she was like, no, you're not. And I was like, yes, I am. And I said, and on top of that, I know I speak very properly. I am a Black man, 6 foot tall, Black man, and, I'm talking to this lady and she's like, no way, not at all. She's like, and she says this to me. She says, I've been in this business for a number of years. I know what I hear over the phone. And she said, you couldn't possibly be a guy. So I had her, that was the, clause in, I got you. That was the hook. I always look for control in a situation anyway. I always do. It's just something I need. So I turned around and I said, well, I'm actually a guy. And she laughed again and she said, if you're actually a guy and you show up down here tomorrow and you're a guy, you got the job. I said, okay, no problem. So I remember getting up the next day. I was so nervous and I went and I said my name and they heard my voice and she said, no fucking way. She said, no fucking way. You're a guy. I said, yes, ma'am, I'm a guy. And she says, have you always had that voice? I said, yes, I've had this voice since I was a little boy. It didn't change through puberty. I prayed to God that it wouldn't. And it didn't, thank God. And she was like, no fucking way. So I got hired and I did. I was a phone sex agent, a very good one, for 2 years of my life. And the crazy thing is, telephone assistant is actually the schematics of what we had to do on the phone. I'm actually giving you the formula they gave me to be a successful phone sex agent. That's actually what it is. And I have to go back a little further, go all the way back to high school. I remember being on the track team and we used to have drills after school. And I remember, I went to school in the suburbs, Central Moreland High School. in Willow Grove, Pennsylvania. And I remember one day it got really quiet and everybody was just quiet. And I'm talking to one of my buddies, and everybody's listening. And I'm like, why is everybody so quiet? And one of the white guys said to me, his name was Greg. He said, if you ever do phone sex, call me. And the whole team started laughing. And, they were like, yeah, that's sexual chocolate. And I was like, I was so upset. I was so bothered by it. But years later, I ended up doing the phone sex. And the funny thing was that job, the psychology behind that job, understanding men is actually like I learned from that job. It helped me better understand me as a man. It helped me not be afraid of men. It helped me to see what men were and what men needed and how to help not just men, but myself as a man. So I learned a lot from that job, and I literally wrote it in that song. And that's how telephone assistant / operator came to be, because, I'm your operator. You can get me on the line. You can call me night or day. You can call me anytime that you want me. It's okay to spend your dime. I'm your operator. Come on, baby, call the line. I write all my music, so of course I know the lyrics. But yeah, so that's how telephone assistant / operator was born.